Okay, here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 134 of CMDtower's Brews and Builds. I'm Mr. Common number 5, and my fellow host, who with every step he takes leaves a footfall crater, BigTuck.
How dare you? But I do have a little bit of this. If you'll excuse my voice, it's been a 3-day bender I've been on pretty much. So it was my birthday yesterday, for those who didn't know, or a week ago, or whatever it happened to, and nothing crazy happened except on Wednesday. I've been doing this running club, right, called hashing, where you go from like one location to another, and in between you like drink beers. There's like a hare and a hound, right?
Okay.
And then so I've been doing it for almost a year now, and I haven't got my hasher name, right? I'm kind of pissed about it because before you get your hash name, your name is just whatever, right? So even though I've been going and doing it, and I met and you are like me, like I know you like your to-do lists, right? I know you like checklists, achievements, 100%ing, that sort of thing, right? So they told me what I needed to accomplish to get this done, and I did it, and they were just still waiting for it. And I thought it was like a personal attack against me, but it ends up being like he just wanted to make sure we had enough people. So I got my hash name on Wednesday, and instead of Lord of the Rings, it's Whore of the Wings.
Wow.
Because so the other one that they're going to call me was Lot Lizard, which you know where that's from.
I like that.
Yeah. But they said that wasn't insulting enough. So, because like the lead guy, his name is Ass Squatch. So he told me to bring a spare change of clothes. And what they did was, this is like some fraternity stuff. I got down on my knees in a parking lot, and I grabbed like a piece of cardboard because my knees were sore from running. So they dumped a bunch of beer on me and then hit me with a bunch of flour mixed with glitter, and then cracked an egg over my head because it was my birthday. So they made a cake, which was pretty humiliating, but it's all part of the contest. The funny part was I was still scraping out like flour paste out of my ear before I like got on my conference call the next day. So
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then I got pretty drunk. So that's why this 9% Imperial IPA from Sweetwater is going down a little rough. But outside of that, it's been a good one. It's finally nice here in Charlotte, so been enjoying the weather. But Mr. Combo, more importantly, how are you?
I'm all right. Pretty excited. This week we I guess last week, got a lot of my Bachelor Party stuff booked, which super pumped about that. We're going to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Never thought I'd enter that shitty state again.
Dollywood. Dollywood. We have to go.
I think we might. Just kidding. We'll just see. So yeah, I'm super pumped about that. And the big thing that I dealt with is I was trying to call Delta. And so the 3 people, including me, that are flying out of Kansas City, I have platinum status with Delta. I got a reserve card with Amex. So I get all these free perks. You can only get those perks if you're on the same reservation as me. And so, and another thing is you have to have a Sky Miles account number. It's free. You just go create it.
That's why you needed the Godfather to create one. Yes.
And so, of course, the Godfather's like, I don't want to sign up for anything. This is bullshit. Like, do I even need to? And it's like, GC or JC, can you just create a free account in 30 seconds and send us the number?
Right. I just need
not
the number.
That big of a deal. Not a big deal. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I was trying to use what's called a companion certificate to get my ticket for free. So because I have like 5 of them sitting in like my deal.
Oh wow.
Because I just haven't been able to fly for the last like few years. So I'm trying to do it, and I get through, we're at the end, and it doesn't give me an option to use it. I'm like, well, that's a little weird. Well, now I remember I got to go to my settings, click the coupon, and then it does it. So I do that, but then it grays it out and only says the number 2. Like, it'll only let me look for flights for 2 people, even though the ticket only gets 1 person for free. And I can't figure out how to pull a third person into it. So I'm like sitting here dealing with this stuff, talking with chat, getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Finally call, and the gal is just like, yeah, I mean, it just can't be done. But here's what I could do. I can link the other reservation with the person. So it ended up working out.
You can give someone else a companion pass, right? I didn't think you could use it on yourself.
Correct. I can't use it on myself. I could transfer the ownership of it to someone to where, like, if I even wasn't going to fly, they could do it. But I guess anytime you use a companion certificate, you could only look at flights for 2. It's not even like you can only do it in even numbers. It's 2.
You can only do 2. Okay. Because it's supposed to be like your wife or like a
significant
like that,
other.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. In like my mind, it's stupid. It should just be able to like, well, which person do you want to get the free ticket? And then you're done.
Because what's the functional difference, right? Yeah. It's the same thing as like a flight voucher.
Yep. And so really the only thing that ended up happening at the end of the day is Eric, he was the one on the standalone ticket. He'll still get free checked bags. I still got him first class on the long legs of the flight, but he wasn't able to get like free Comfort Plus upgrades, which kind of sucks because I know that would have been nice because he's even taller than I am and bigger than I am.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And then he won't get my TSA pre-check automatically on his ticket. So
does he not have that?
I doubt
he hates it. Oh, he hates to fly.
He hates
right?
flying. Yeah, he hates flying. So, dealt with that. That kind of sucked, but, it's whatever. But I'm getting more and more excited for this partner, non-partner challenge. Actually going to go play some games with Marketing Ross tonight.
Fun. Good.
And the Nancinator asked Ross, like, hey, should we bring our partner, non-partner decks? And he's like, well, Matt has 0 interest in this, but, I'm up for whatever. So I think I'm going to bring it and try to do a BigTuck and bully people into it.
So
we'll see how successful I am.
I did also get a new piece of Magic history, by the way. So
it better not be gold bordered.
It's not,
because it's not a piece of Magic history.
It's not. It's not gold bordered, but it is a Lotus, and it does have some of the coolest art I've ever seen on a Lotus before.
Okay.
So I'm holding in my hand an officially printed WotC Black Lotus.
It's not. It's
Do you have any guesses?
Stupid. It's the international edition or whatever.
Duel Masters. This thing is sick.
There you go.
It looks awesome. It's an official. Look at that artwork. It's foil too. I'm gonna get like a thing and have it on my desk.
It is an official Black Lotus token. Yes.
There you go. How about that?
Black Lotus token.
I'll a $40 token. So there you go.
Oh my god!
It looks great. This is my favorite. This has been the artwork on every work computer I've ever had that has a back screen. So it's my favorite. One of my favorite artists. Who is this? Chris Ron. I love the artwork. So I thought just spoil myself a little bit,
BigTuck loves the artist so much he can't even remember their name.
I had to look it up. Yeah, so there you go. I can tell you another card that he's done.
Thanks for joining. We do have a great Patreon community, which really helps us improve the content, get new gear, be able to do new giveaways for you guys. So if you could head over to patreon.com/CMDtower. Any support you could provide would really help out. Just $1 a month gets you into all the soft value that we bring. $5 and above will actually get you tangible products as we release them. So anything you can do would be a great, great help to us. Plus, it gives you chances to actually be on the channel and share what you think about Magic the Gathering.
Ooh.
Now, if you're an existing collective or patron member, and you have someone that you refer to join, just have them shoot us a message on Patreon. Anytime an existing collective member gets someone to join our patron community, we will send that founding member some sort of free swag just to say thank you. So make sure you're out there promoting our patron and our content, and you'll be rewarded as well. Then we do have a store. It's pretty great. We do have foil playmats. We do have Jund sweaters. We do have reminder tokens and other metal gold tokens on there and coins. CMDtower.com/merch. Go check it out. We're trying to offload as much of this gear as possible. We do have a goal. If we could, by the end of summer, offload about 50% of what we've kind of acquired over the last couple years, we'll actually be able to really start getting you guys some new swag, start kind of getting some new people brought onto the staff, be able to pay some people. So whatever you guys can do to help support out of our store, that'd be great. The best buy on there is probably our sleeves. We only sell them for $5 for a 100-pack.
Right.
And now I'm seeing prices out there like Ultra Pros even charging $20 or $25 for a 100-pack. It's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then lastly, you guys have heard of the amazing playtest cards that I personally have used in like my Najeela Mystical Archive deck or my Game of Thrones Kinrith deck. AbyssProxyShop.com. Code CMDtower will get you 10% off your order. It does help support the channel as well. And it is combinable. So if you see that there's a deal or sale going on the site as well, you can use our code in conjunction with any of those discounts, and you will still get it and still support our channel. Great way if you have those dockside extortionists that are like $40-$50 a pop. You own one copy, go get a bunch of them for $3 or $3.50, whatever it is after the discount. Same thing, you got your first Aber Duel, you'd like to put it in more decks, but can't afford to buy a $200 Taiga over and over. AbyssProxyShop.com, code CMDtower. And the best kept secret is if you type in custom card, you'll actually be able to get the massive gallery of all the custom art that they've done for the community out there. And so, cool like Futurama and Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. So go check it out. That supports us.
They are really high quality. And I'm looking at you talked about that Taiga, and there's some artwork on there that's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
But of course, guys, if you're not in a position today to be able to help us out financially, or you just hate our guts, but still listening for some reason, just share the content you're watching and listening, because every little bit of interaction from the collective does help. So Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32, the 12 themes of EDH decks, we have moved on to classic day one brews and builds with a traditional episode. So we described the brewing of decks similar to how beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 different categories. The first one's ramp and setting your board state. We call that grains.
And grains are the foundation of every beer. They include both base malts and specialty malts, usually about a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, the taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of the beer. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp into bigger threats. And just like a grain profile, they're usually a mix of staples and specialty cards.
Then the next is, how does your board interact with the rest of the board? We call that hops.
And hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors that grow in a variety of strands and help distinguish subcategories like this Imperial IPA we have right here. Hop choices help clear and interact with the board so your deck can ultimately do it at once.
And then I'm very confused on how this deck does it. How does your deck close out and win the game? We call that yeast.
And yeast are the living microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds alcohol content and the carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then we do have shenanigans as your pet card synergies. You could argue the majority of this deck that are just kind of fun. We call that spice.
And not every beer has them, but spices and other additives help separate a normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the pepper that turns a stout into Alpay into stout, or addition of hops that turn IPA into a double IPA. Now, every deck has something that makes it pop, but if they do, this is where we talk about it.
And then to wrap up the episode, we have a bottle capping. And these will be recommendations to the deck to cut 3 cards and add a card for under $5, under $50, and a no-budget recommendation. Just couldn't do mana-only lands. So without further ado, let's get brewing. Guys, we're continuing our partner, non-partnered Legendary Challenge month. Remember, May 2nd, 2022, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on our Twitch channel, CMDtower. Twitch goes twitch.tv/CMDtower.
Right.
And that will consist of myself, Commander Cookout's own Brando. That's episode aired last week for his Boros partner deck. BigTuck himself with today's deck. And then next week, we'll be discussing Marketing Ross's deck. And this is a challenge where we take the deck has to be completely EDH legal. The only thing that we're doing illegal is in the command zone, you could make any legendary creatures or planeswalkers partner. So you could basically pair anything you wanted with anything. And today, BigTuck gave us Binder Bullshit with Kels Fight Ring Welcomes Gyrus. So BigTuck, why don't you read off Gyrus Walker of Corpses? I'll read off Kels Fight Fixer, and you talk about what kind of monstrosity you gave us.
Oh, it's a monstrosity indeed. And yeah, I can't wait to get into that. So Gyrus Walker of Corpses is X and Jund, which is black, red, and then green, for a 0/0 legendary creature Hydra that's a mythic for 58 cents. When it enters the battlefield, with the number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. And then when it attacks, you may exile target creature card with lesser power from my graveyard. If I do, create a token of that that's a copy of that card that's tapped and attacking, exile the token at end of combat.
And then Kels Fight Fixer is 2 colorless, black, legendary creature, Azra Warlock, 4/3 with Menace. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may pay hybrid dimir, so you can pay any combination of blue or black, but if you do, you get to draw a card. And then you can pay 1 colorless, sacrifice a creature. Kels Fight Fixer gains indestructible till end of turn.
So, as everyone knows, I love Jund and Dimir, the 2 of my favorite colors. So I thought, why not just pair some of those up with my favorites that were gathering dust in my binders? I did not spend a cent on this. This is literally cards that I just went through my rare binder, my legendary. It was like, oh, that seems fun. Oh, that
you didn't even pull cards out of decks?
No, this is all
Wow.
just from binders, right? So it's always Kels always interested me after I opened her in Jumpstart. I like how she kind of is a bit of a sack outlet and gives you value with that. I also like Hydras and Jund and Gyrus always seem interesting. But my thought with this is like these are two commanders that I've literally had ideas of build decks around, but I like don't want to.
Okay.
Like I already have
Okay.
enough Jund, I already have enough Rakdos, I already have enough Dimir. So I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just take those two things, find as many, put in as many cards with mechanics that I like, with cards that I like, and a lot of them were just like stuff lying around in my binder that I just didn't put somewhere. And then this also worked out because I have a pile about that thick of cards that either need to be sorted or slotted into new decks. So I just took out of that pile to make myself have to work less down the road. So the idea is we're going to use red to cheat out our big creatures. And bring them back. We're going to bring out black for some sack value, blue for some control, and the green for some ramp. So literally, I just went through and just found the cards I liked that I had lying around. And I did do some play testing with it, and I know you're not going to believe this. It actually works pretty well.
Oh my gosh.
I'm dead serious, right? Like the green ramp and token producers kind of plays into Kels and lets you get some value in the early game. And then when you have enough mana to start casting Gyrus for a bunch, by then you can kind of get some stuff in your graveyard and do that sort of thing. So it looks like I just grabbed a bunch of cards, just threw them into a pile together. But it actually seems to do its job pretty well. So I listen, I'm just as shocked as you are.
Yeah, I mean I will say the deck does scream binder bullshit.
Yes.
There's just a lot of stuff in here.
Yes.
I think almost we should almost change the phrase from binder bullshit to like limited. This is a limited EDH deck.
Kind of a limited,
yeah. I mean, it's just like you had packs of cards, and it's like, how the hell can I make this work? And so you just kind of put all the stuff together. Which, hey, I respect that. And the interesting thing, though, Tuck, is this is our third deck that we've done for this challenge. I'm seeing a pattern with you and Brando's decks where. And even with my deck, it's not so much that we have this, like, not even linear, but, like, we have these, like, win pads. A lot of it,
right? There's, like, channels.
Yes. We don't have any channels that's, like, this is what the deck is trying to do. Like, mine kinda has that. Brando's kinda has that. Yours kinda has that. But I think that's just actually going to prove, like, unless Marketing Ross comes out of left field, I think all these decks are going to be very mid to late game.
Yes, right.
Grindy. We're always in the red zone. We're always trying to take down life totals. Nothing I'm actually playing is just like, oh my gosh, be wary of the second card. It's just like, these are all good cards that can help me provide value. And I think that's interesting because you don't see a lot of EDH decks that are built like that.
Right. This again, shockingly, a lot of these cards in here are like giant beasts, a lot of battle cruisery style stuff, and it kind of works to play it like that. So I still don't, even going through this exercise and looking up cards like what would be good in Gyrus that I don't have, what would be good in Kels. Yeah. They're both just variations of decks I already own. Right. So I think this was fun for me to be like, okay, some cards that kind of fell by the wayside, and I have just a bunch of stuff that I had lying around that I thought was funny and cute. So we'll see. Like I said, I only got to goldfish it. It's sitting right here. It needs to be sleeved. So we'll see.
Not raw dog that shit.
Well, yeah, no way. Not with some of these in here.
Well, your average CMC is 378, but because Tuck is now using Moxfield, I have no fucking clue how to find the total cost of the deck.
It's the money, like dollars, or it's at the bottom, on the bottom purple line.
Yeah,
at the bottom of the screen, it goes main board, the version of it, and then the price.
Yeah, because I had the window shrunk and it was down. So cost of the deck's about a little less than $700.
Yeah, which really is like
shock you.
Sort of. Like there's a few I mean, there's two cards in here that make up pretty much that entire, like, half of that budget, right? So that's also one of the reasons why I went with these colors, to be honest with you. So it's not surprising to me that I had those lying around. It is surprising that they all kind of fell into, like, they're traditionally cards that are more expensive are good. So it kind of was a shock to me. It's like, I just have these lying around, right? Like these should be in a real deck that I actually, I should have had the foresight to do something else with them.
I've genuinely, Tuck, throughout the pandemic and all the price increases, and then we'll get into the deck tech. I've genuinely thought about taking my binders, creating a list on Tapped Out or whatever, and just putting all the cards that I have in my binders in that list, just so I can see what happens with prices, like as the market
so you could
changes.
See it, like,
because I guarantee you, just like you, I probably have a bunch of cards and binders that are now like $30, $40,
right,
and I would have no clue.
And you open them in a pack of Modern Horizons 2 or something, right?
Well,
and you're like,
no, Modern Horizons 1.
That's fair point. Yeah, that was the one that you went to town with.
All right, guys. Well, let's dive into this. We'll start with the Ramp and Grain section. And BigTuck, what is the first card for your partner, non-partner fight ring deck you want to talk about?
So, there's two mechanics that I really like in Commander because they're both equally annoying. And one of them is a lot better, and I had way more options of that. But I just traded for this Planeswalker specifically for that reason. Because...
Wait, hold on. Nope. You have two Planeswalkers in there. You almost got me. Not this one.
Wait, hold on. Okay, well, so this one is not... It cares more about 4-legged creatures than 2-legged creatures.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, for those who haven't hacked it together, it's Arlen's a Pack Hope. 2 colorless, a Gruul that is a red and a green for a 4-drop legendary planeswalker Arlen. That's a mythic rare. That's about $7. And the reason why it's in the deck is because it has Daybound, and I will force everyone to play Day and Night whether they like to or not. But she does actually have some really cool abilities. So +1 is until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with additional 1/1 counter on it. And then -3 is create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. If it does flip tonight, then she turns into Arlen, the Mune's Fury. She gets a +2, which adds a red and a green, and then 0 until end of turn. She becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. So I put her in here mostly for the day and night mechanic, but the more I thought about it is I really want to play a lot of creatures, right? Because that's what's going to fuel Kels. So the fact that she can make them flash is really strong, right? It lets you open it up a little bit more, so I'm not just running out of everything on my turn. And I do like having some of these incidental token generators in here because they pair really nicely with filtering through my deck with Arlen. Granted, paying 2 to sacrifice a creature, give her indestructible, and draw a card isn't the best rate out there. But I like having things that I can do. I like having tokens that I can do stuff with later. I honestly think the backside of this is significantly worse. Like the 5/5 creature is fine, and then the 2 mana is okay if I'm building up to a big Kels. But I think I'm going to see the most value out of the front side of Arlen.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that +1. That's a really good +1 because, I mean, the way I'm reading it is also any creatures you flash between now and your next turn are also going to get +1/+1 counters.
Right.
So it's like you get this like pseudo instant speed anthem type thing you could do with creatures.
Right.
So I'm actually a big fan of that. I would disagree. I like the backside.
Really?
Because I look at it this way. 1, you're getting 2 mana out of a +2. Yeah. So now it's just constantly getting harder and harder to kill. Also, because it's just a free signet, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Signet. Nobody's going to be attacking it. Like, you're just basically, this is a 4 mana rock that it's either getting you 2 mana every turn, or you're getting to play stuff at flash, and I'm good with either one.
Right. Yeah. I agree. So I've never seen this card played, so I'm hoping it'll do what we want, but I guess I'm just going to mulligan until I get it. That's it.
Yeah.
Rolled into 1.
Well, the first card I wanted to talk about is one of the cards that makes up about half your budget at a cool $600 or $300. We're talking 3, 2, 1. Survival
of the Fittest. Woo!
Colorless Great Enchantment. God, this was just in a binder somewhere.
It's also the price of this one's significantly lower because it's.
I'm not saying it.
Okay. Well, everyone out there can play the home game, but I will read the activate ability on it. So 1 green, choose and discard a creature card, search the library for a creature card, reveal that card to all players, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your library afterwards. Woof.
So, yeah, I mean, the card's good in general. The reason I really like it though is because as a grain card for this deck is Gyrus can reanimate.
Right.
And so early game, you discard your overcosted creatures to go get your Wood Elves, your Sakura Tribe Elders, stuff like that.
Right.
Ramp early, establish your board, and then, hey, and you always do it like, this sucks. I guess I have to discard this 7-drop dragon to go get a Sakura Tribe Elder, and people are like, ooh, Tuck's really mana hurting. But it's like, well, I'm actually I am, but I'm also setting up for the future. So yeah, I think it gives you almost like a possum approach early game, discarding a lot of threats to just play the game, but really those threats you're almost suspending to a later date.
Exactly. And I also like that for the fact, effectively for 2 green, I can entomb, right? So I didn't, because I have most of them in other decks. I don't run tons of reanimation packages in here, but with my commander and with the few that I have, I think that could lead to some pretty explosive early game cheating out stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
Well, dying. Tuck, why don't you give us your last grain card?
All right. So I have had a soft start for this card as soon as it got printed because Bitter Blossom is way too much money. So instead of
this card is not that good.
I love it. It's so good. So Dreadhorn Invasion, for the price, I literally think it cannot be beat. So 1 colorless and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass 1. Put a 1/1 counter on an army you control. If you don't control one, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. And then whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains life leak until end of turn. Listen. I wish this card just said Bitter Blossom, right? I wish that was the case, but I only own 1 of them, and this one's gotten reprinted in like pre-cons, I think, so it's 30 cents. So for 2 mana and 1 life, I can sack a creature and draw a card every turn if I want to. No one's going to blow this thing up. It's going to stay around until a farewell or merciless eviction goes. I'm just going to keep getting that value, baby, turn after turn after turn.
This card is your Altar of the Brood.
I think it's you know what? I think that's pretty fair. Like if I would run this in almost every black deck I can.
I think you probably have it in almost every black deck you own.
I have it all. That's in a lot. It's been in every black deck at some point. I think it might have gotten cut out at some point, but yes, I'm a whore for this card in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to put a card in the 99 to just waste 2 mana to draw a card every turn, that's not a rate that I think is good. But hey, live your life, man. Live your life.
2 mana and a life.
Well, my last 2. This one is a card that I have had such a soft spot for ever since it got previewed. I run it in my mono red deck, and I try to run it in as many red decks as I can with the few that I own. It's not an expensive card; I just don't own a bunch. But Yordaro Wandering Monster is so amazing.
We both like to stick to our guns, right? But I think we both acknowledge when the other person is right. You're slam dunk on this one. I think this was one of your preview cards that you really liked. I think you're onto something. I think this card's kind of incredible.
Yeah, so for 5 colorless red, which you should never pay, legendary creature Dinosaur Turtle, it's an 8/8 with trample and haste. Here's what makes the card super sexy, guys. Cycling, colorless and a red. When you cycle Yordaro Wandering Monster, shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you've cycled a card named Yordaro Wandering Monster 4 or more times this game, put it onto the battlefield from your graveyard instead. Do this before you draw. So, basically, I'm going to cycle you forever, draw a card, and then eventually I have an 8/8. There's literally 0 downside to having this card in a deck that has red.
I completely agree. And now I can go fetch it with Survival of the Fittest, too, so I actually can cycle it 4 times.
Yeah, there you go. And, I mean, because here's the thing. Even if you've done it 3 times, but you have the 7 mana, it does have haste, so you might just pay the 7, and then you still got to draw 3 cards off of the cycling effect. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, this card is all upside and gas for me.
Yeah, you're 100% right on this one. And as I was going through my binder, I was like, yes, no questions asked, it's going in.
And my last one is the other Planeswalker in the green section. We're talking about Xenagos the Reveler. This was actually, I think, the very first Planeswalker I ever bought. First one I ever purchased.
This is the first Planeswalker I ever opened in a pack.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I
That's
opened it in
exciting.
China. Yeah. So I've always had a soft one for it.
Yeah, I
Soft
think I had
one,
bought
thanks.
this, and it's still in there today in my Animar deck. I bought it for
Oh, hell yeah.
Animar. Really, really love it. So, 2 colorless Gruul. That's going to be your red and your green. That's going to be a Planeswalker Xenagos. Comes in with 3 loyalty. +1, add X mana of any combination of red and green to your mana pool, where X is the number of creatures you control. 0, put a 2/2 red-green satyr creature token with haste onto the battlefield. -6, exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may put any number of creature and or land cards from among them onto the battlefield. Tuck, I actually think this card does everything your deck wants. The
I was just gonna
first
say
one,
that, yeah.
I would say it's a grain because the X mana of any combination, you do have 30 creatures in the deck. You got some token producers. Say even if you get like 6 or 7 off of this, well, that's 6 or 7 you could pump into Gyrus onto that X cost. The 0, blocker, or draw card later off of Kels. And then -6, that does win games. Getting to put any number of creatures, forget the lands, but any number of creatures in there. 30% of your deck is creatures. So most likely by the time you get to this point, you'll probably have 40 to 50% of your deck is creatures because you've filtered through it and gotten your sorceries and your lands and stuff. So this card's amazing. I love it. It's still only $6. Kind of shocking. I would think how old it is. It would have gone up in price. Maybe it's been reprinted. Who knows?
I agree. And I think usually in the decks that we played in, usually one of the abilities is way better than the other, right? Usually the +1. So that's why I like having it in decks anyways. But the fact that, like you said, all 3 of these are strong in this deck, I was like, yeah, there's no question, right? Like I almost put the other Arlen Corden here for kind of the same reasons, but I was like, it's not near as good as this one.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the grain section. Now we're going to head over to the hop profile, and you have to keep listening to me talk.
Woo!
My first hop is a card that I really, really enjoy. Let's just say he's a plague to the table. We are talking Plague Crafter.
Oh, sure.
Really like this card.
2
colorless black, creature human shaman. It's a 3/2. When Plague Crafter ETBs, each player sacks a creature or planeswalker, which makes this card pretty cool. And then each player who can't discards a card. I think this is what you want your deck to do, because then you can sacrifice. You just play him, you sack himself, and then you draw a card by paying the 1 off of Kels.
Yeah,
seems great.
Yeah, there's no downside to it. This eats Fleshbrag Marauders breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but there's some flavor text there.
Come on.
But it's an easy one. Nicol Bolas, the Popish British guy. You got that one in the bag.
My power is generosity. In a way, I give my survivors an appreciation for their lives.
Very good.
Where are the whores and the tea and crumpets?
Yeah, it's if you go to Kels, their EDH rec, this is easily in the top played. So I happen to have one lying around, and it's only 27 cents, even if you don't.
All right, Tuck, what's your first hoppy?
Okay, let's talk a little Monarch. And this card, I think this card is severely underrated. There's 2 that I have in here, and one of them's not so hot, but I wanted it because of the Monarch ability. The second one, though, I think is pretty slick. So I know you're not talking about either of these, I'm guessing.
Correct.
By the way you scoffed. So Dawnglade Regent. I've had this in other decks, and this card does do work. So 5 colorless, double green for an 8/8 elk. When enters the battlefield, become the Monarch. So immediately it's amazing. It's already at 8, right? Just because it has that on it. And then secondly, as long as you're the Monarch, permanents you control have hexproof, and I do have a little bit of reading to do of my own. This is going to be Eily, High Priestess of the Eternal Pilgrims, aka Alanis Morissette. Excuse me. Oh, wait, there's another song that we were just doing. Okay, here we go. Ready? I said every creature in the glade paused and stared, overcame. I bowed to the beast. Eldrazi, Kalame, Lane, naturalist.
Oh my god.
Come on. It's better than the ironic ones we always do.
That's very true.
Hexproof is great. I'm playing a gazillion creatures. I get to draw a card the turn it comes in. What more do you want? And it's an 8/8.
I actually think the whole you having hexproof as a player is actually super overrated. I've yanked cards out of decks that do that because there's not a lot that just targets players.
No. This one's permanents you control have hexproof, not you.
Oh, I just saw you have hexproof. Oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
No. Okay, to your point though, to be fair, if it's you have hexproof, I would have cut it for sure.
Really, even though it has Monarch.
I would be less okay. I would have kept it in the deck because this is my binder bullshit. But I would not be talking about it today.
The interesting thing going through the list, guys, Tuck does not have a single Court of in here, and I'm surprised by that because I thought you bought like 50 of each.
They're all in decks. I have them all in decks already. I don't have any more.
Well, the first hop card I wanted to talk about, it's a removal spell in blue that I don't think gets played enough. And usually people don't get too pissed about it because you give them all little piggies. So we're talking Curse of the Swine.
So good.
I really like this card.
Yeah.
X blue sorcery. Exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller gets a 2/2 green board creature token onto the battlefield. And who is this going to sound like?
This is going to sound like... Oh, another easy one for you. Lannery Storm, the old white woman smoker at the slot machine.
Another imminent battle, honey. It's excited and busy snuffling and carefree rooting. I told Doris don't go out there, but she didn't listen.
So yeah, this card, hands down, outside of Cyclonic Rift, for me, is some of the best blue removal out there. Yeah. Cyclonic Rift will always be number one.
Right.
But this card, for even X equals 4 for 6 mana, exiling 4 creatures, that's really good.
Yeah, it's got no downside. I almost didn't throw any blue in here, and you can see with that 11% of my cards have blue in them. So I really want to make sure that the ones I put in had a lot of utility, and I think this one does. So I have a question. I don't have much more to say about that. I have a question for you though, because I think we've talked about this in the past. So I was watching the MTG Goldfish podcast, and they were going through the best cards at certain mana values, right? And at 2, they had like Dockside Extortionist, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Arcane Signet. And then someone said Cyclonic Rift. And I mean, I get where they're going, but to me, that card just costs the card costs 7 unless you're in the most dire situations you could be in, right?
So I think the issue with that thought process, Tuck, you are right. Cyclonic Rift is a 7 mana spell.
Right.
But then Curse of Swine's a 2 mana spell.
Sure. No, okay, sure. Yeah.
You would never do it for 2. So,
right.
But that's what you have to categorize it as because you don't know what X is. Same thing with Tormenta Hailfire.
Right.
So I think just from like if we're trying to make all the cards fit in the same sandbox, you just have to say like whatever that top right corner is, that's the CMC. Because with all the alternate costs and stuff like that, it's just so difficult to figure out what actually cost is.
Right, because this one always costs at least 3, right? But it's still a 2-drop.
Correct. And like your ninjutsu deck, she's not actually 3, she's 2.
Right.
But she would be a 3 CMC card.
So real quick side note on that, you'll love it. I played that recently. Turn 2, flipped over 10 CMC. Turn 1, a scry creature. Turn 2, ninjutsu, 10 CMC. Everyone lost 30. It was incredible.
Wow.
It felt great.
All right. Well, Tuck, give us your second Hoppy card.
So this is another one. This one is kind of more of an emergency reset, or to kind of slow people down. This is a girl that I know you like from the same set as Dreadhorn Invasion. But it's a cool creature. She's easily reanimatable, and I think can kind of get you back into the game. And for that, we are talking about our old pal Massacre Girl. So 3 colors.
Oh, I didn't know she came in the same set.
Yeah. War of the Spark.
Oh, there you go.
3 colors, double black for legendary creature, human assassin. That's a 4/4 with menace. When she enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets a -1/-1 until end of turn. So even though we're playing, this card probably is not going to be as good in the partner non-partner decks that I've seen so far, because no one that we've seen is going to storm off with a bunch of tokens, right? And I will probably have. I'm guessing I will generally have a fair amount of creatures on the board. But for me, this is just kind of like a reset button, right? Like I know things are going well. I need to pump the brakes. Maybe I have a giant Gyrus that will live through this. We can plop down Massacre Girl. You have a 4/4 with Menace left over and can do some pretty big damage across the board.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. I'm actually okay with the card in the deck, and I actually think it's good because in your command zone, you do have a reanimator. So
Right.
a lot of people would say, well, Massacre Girl, she's a one-time use. If you don't have a bunch of tokens that can make everything get like -10, like what's the point? I look at it as like, well, it's still good in the deck because still for 5 mana, you get this girl out. Maybe you get to -3, and that's where you stop. Well, then when she dies, or you sack her to Kels Fight Fixer, you could then reanimate it with Gyrus, get another one out there, get another -3 going on, or whatever you could get to.
Right.
So I still think it's good. It fits your theme. It's a creature. You could sack it to draw a card. You can reanimate it to do the effect again. I think it's fine.
Hell yeah! What else you got for me?
Oh man, my last one, and I know you and I are on
you got
dark scheme with this.
You got 2 more, right?
Nope.
What was your first? You had the piggies and what?
Playcrafter.
Oh, right, of course.
So this guy has a dark scheme about it, using that great mechanic called energy.
So
we're talking Demon of Dark Schemes. I have never seen this card. It's hilarious.
Never
3
really?
colorless, never.
Oh,
3
wow.
colorless, black, creature demon mythic. It's only $2 or $1.50.
Right.
It has flying. It's a 5/5. When Demon of Dark Schemes ETBs, all other creatures get -2/-2 till end of turn. Whenever another creature dies, you get an energy counter. You could pay 2 colorless, black, 4 energy counters, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. Here's the insanity. It doesn't tap Dark Schemes.
Right.
It doesn't say only use on your turn. It doesn't say only use once per turn. It's just there. So we just talked about Massacre Girl. You plop down Massacre Girl and Demon of Dark Schemes, you're going to get like 50 energy.
Right.
And then you're just like, oh, 3 mana, get this back. 3 mana, get that back. 3 mana, get this back.
Absolutely.
It's absurd.
And this is so the builds I've seen of Gyrus out there, they like playing cards that have mismatched power to cost, right? So this one for 6, it's only a 5/5. So getting this into the graveyard earlier makes it easier to pull out with Gyrus, right? Granted, this is not a great target for that because you want this around to be able to cast it multiple times. But if you've already done the gimmick with it, you'll have your treasure lying around. Swing in with Gyrus, pay 6 mana, all your energy, pull back a few creatures, so you're kind of back to the races for it. So it's a fun card. It's like a worse Massacre Worm, potentially, but I think it's great. And for $1.50, I think it goes into a lot of decks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any decks that use energy, but I mean, this wouldn't be a terrible thing in even my Shirai deck.
Right.
Just like, hey, maybe it goes in, kills a bunch of stuff, and now I can use this to reanimate my non-1 power or less creatures.
Right.
Yeah, that could have some value.
I think another good design choice on it is it's any creature, right? Or another creature.
Yes.
Not just because if it's just the ones you control, you're like, it's just a lot more sweaty, right? Like it just takes a lot more work. But when it's any creature, those mana dorks that it randomly grabs when you cast it, that sort of stuff, that's where it really takes off.
Yep. All right, Tuck, give us your final hop card.
So this card, I think, is starting to. This used to be like kind of a staple in Green, in my opinion, but I think as the game has shifted, it's become way less valuable. But it still holds a very special place in my heart, and that card is
Terrastodon.
The Nasty, the Stawny, the Terrastodon. 6 colorless, double green for a 9/9 elephant. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into a graveyard this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. It's just costs so much, right? But the idea is that this is not just a one-time use. This is something that you sacrifice, you bring back, you cast again, and try to keep the board clear. I think I'll be able to handle other creatures very well. But like if there's like in Brando's decks, he has a bunch of enchantments that are like going to be backbreaking to me, right? So being able just to pick those off and give him these worthless elephants that are just going to die to Massacre Girl and or Demon of Dark Scheme at some point. That's why I like it. And again, it's just kind of it's one of those cards that I just always have liked since I started playing the game.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately this is a card that's just dated with time.
Yes, yeah.
In the game. So, but hey, I mean, we all have them laying around. I'm surprised I didn't see a rampaging Baloth in here. Lord knows you have those laying around.
You bite your tongue. I think I moved all those to my bulk I think all of them except for one are in my bulk rare thing that I just like. If I send people cards, I'll just grab one from random out there and send them over.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up Kels Fight Ring welcomes Gyrus' Hop section. I know you've been waiting to figure out how this deck is going to win, considering it's binder bullshit. And Tuck, I think you should tell us the first card.
Okay. Well, I think Gyrus is going to get real big. And something that I like about Gyrus too is that it's the equal to the amount of mana cast to spend it. Amount of cast to spend it. Amount of mana spent to cast it. So the commander tax is actually gonna pay into that, right, in a good way. So eventually in the late game, I didn't want to put too many cards that do this sort of thing, but I thought that we might be able to ignite the end game with a simple sorcery. You don't like this? 3, 2, 1.
I mean, it's not mine.
I know it's not. Chandra's ignition. It's great. 3 colors. Also, if you look through this is also like 3/4 of cards that could easily go into a Prosh deck, which is I think it was where I might have gotten them from. 3 colors, double red for sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each other opponent. And there is a little bit of flavor text here. So this is Malakan, which is Will Ferrell from Zoolander. So do you think the person that sent it over is trying to do the Crazy Bills speech? Or are they trying to do like the coffee part? I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's the what does he always say? Like Hans.
Oh, he's so hot right now.
He's so hot right now.
This card is in fact hot right now. Okay, let's see if I can do this. I'm not much of a Will Ferrell guy, so Chandra, in the moment for her execution, she realized what it meant to be a pyromancer, to be alive, and to be taking crazy pills. This card's amazing. You don't like this?
No, it's fine. It's just it's not a card to get excited about anymore. Just like Crater Hoof is not a card to get excited about anymore.
Fair enough. I'm just shocked that it's almost $7, which is insane.
I'm not.
Really?
It's
kind of a finisher, right?
Well, yeah, because it's also to each opponent. So your Stuffy Doll decks want it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like wants Chandra is in ignition.
Well, that's it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. When I saw this card in your East package, it's like, oh, it's just hands down meant for Gyrus when he's humongous.
Yeah, when he gets huge.
I guess the question I'd have for you, though, is what happens when you have Chandra's ignition in hand, but Gyrus is only like a 6/6? Are you holding this until it's like a 10/10? Like, when are you actually popping Chandra's ignition?
I think the only obviously this is going to be a big game winner is the idea of it. But I think that if I get board wiped and I'm struggling to kind of get back, and I'm like, okay, I got Gyrus out and no other creatures, and people are starting to build their thing back up, that's when I could do it for more. For more of a removal, like a creature removal as opposed to player removal. But I think I don't know. I wouldn't want to cast this when Gyrus was under like 8, right? I think that's kind of the number I'd want to go for, unless it's like dire emergencies or I can knock out one person and that's good enough.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't see any like damage doublers or anything like that from a payoff perspective. So I just wasn't sure, because with a lot of these cards that are very dependent on another card, there's always like that threshold of like, I am not wasting it. It's like you're not going to waste a Swords to Plowshares on a Llanowar Elves, but it's like, what would it take for you to use it on that? So
yeah, definitely.
All right, we're going gods again. This time the creature version of the god. We're talking Xenagos, God of Revels. This card is probably, I would actually say it's a better game finisher than Chandra's Ignition.
I was gonna say, is this the best card in the deck?
I think it is. 3 colorless Gruul, legendary enchantment, creature, god, mythic. It's a 6/5 for about $13. It's indestructible. Devotion to red and green is less than 7. It's not a creature. I doubt you'll ever hit 7.
No way.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is that creature's power, aka give Gyrus double power. Right. Good lord.
Well, and the thing too is like Kels is usually the card when I goldfish this. Kels came out first, right? And even though she's only a 4, she still has menace, right? So if you get her out early enough, you're going to start getting that damage in, right? Like 4 here, 4 there, 4 here. But there's a big, like, the fact she passes like the 3 swing check, right? Where if you double her power, that's only 3 swings to kill somebody, right?
Sure.
With menace and with like maybe some of the other stuff that I'm working with. So I think that's why Xenagos is so good, is because both of our commanders can get in the red zone and want to be there, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
But yeah, it's bonkers.
Give us your second yeasty card.
Okay. So I have an enchantment, and this has been a card I've had for a long time, and I've been trying to figure out what deck to work it in, right? This is another one that I think it's either you or Oob were super keen on, because it enchants a land, and then it just sits there. So, and you already brought it up earlier, Footfall Crater, but my footsteps out there. How are you not excited about this? You said this card's amazing.
Did I?
I thought so. Didn't you?
I mean, maybe I did in a drunken stupor. I mean, the card's fine.
5 years ago? Okay. Well, anyway, it's a one. I thought there's 2 I put in here. It was this one and Yurdaro that I thought you were going to go wild for. So I guess
Yurdaro, yes. This seems more like an Oob card.
I think it must have been him. So 1 red for an enchantment aura. Enchant land. Enchant land has tap. Target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn, and then it cycles 1. So, I mean, there's probably better versions of this, but for me, this is a card that you can kind of play early-ish, and it's going to sit there, right? I don't really know if someone's going to be burning a removal on this until they start seeing. I mean, until maybe it's too late. I will say this: if it just gave it haste, not good enough, right? But the fact that it gives trample to both of my commanders to get through that extra damage when we need to, I think that's why it's solid. And if you don't need it, you just bin it and get something else, right?
So, question for you then. You don't have it in your list, so I assume it's not in a binder. But would you make it? I could make an argument Anger would be better than Footfall Crater, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You don't get the trample, but you can sacrifice it to Kels, so you get to draw a card. It's in the graveyard. You have to have a mountain with how much red you have in the deck. So you're going to have a mountain out there.
I think I have a spare. I should put that in here, to be honest with you. I think the only difference here is that trample piece is really important. But I mean, Anger, you could, and even better, like we talk about survival of the fittest, right? Anger's like the best target for that, right? Sure, I'll just spin this turn 1 and go get whatever. So I got to have an Anger. That card can't be that much, right?
No, it's not. It's like, pretty cheap.
It's a couple bucks. Okay. Well, anyways, damn it. I thought you were going to be really excited about that one. So
it's cool. Cry. I just look at it as more of you're in a 4-color deck. Depending on what land you put that on, it could hurt you later in the game, like cutting you off of a color, because essentially you are paying a mana and you're essentially losing the mana when you use that land for the other stuff. So that's kind of just where I think about it.
Yeah,
but,
I can see that.
Yeah. All right.
I'm here for it.
My next one, it's the less sexy Craterhoof. It's on attack. We're breaking Ivexes.
I forgot I put this in here.
Pathbreaker Ibex, 4 colorless, green. It's a 3/3 goat. Whenever it attacks, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And do we have a Crocodile Jackson legendary cowboy text?
No, but we have one that is potentially what he could sound like, which is Thrun the Last Troll, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah. Not only a wrecking ball, but a trendsetter in its own right. Step into a Slim Jim.
So I love this card, especially more than Craterhoof for this deck. It's repeatable because it's on attack, but we've talked about him a few times. Gyrus is out there, 6/6/7/7. Everything's getting +6/+6 or +7/+7, and it gets the trample. That's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I actually do have a spare Craterhoof somewhere, unless I traded it. I think this is still better though, right? Because you get it every time.
Well, it's better for your deck than Craterhoof.
Right.
Craterhoof would be better if you had a lot more token producers. You don't actually have that many token producers.
Right.
You may think you do, but I think it's more creature-based than anything, like non-token creatures. So that's why I think Pathbreaker is just better.
Right, and you still get do you get the trigger if you bring it back from Gyrus?
Nope, because Gyrus is on attack.
So it's attack, you exile it, it comes in tapped and already attacking, so you miss that.
Correct.
Bit. That's kind of
very,
sneaky.
very much like Kalia the Vast when I cheat out an Angel, Demon, or Dragon. If it had an attack trigger, I lose that.
Right. But yeah, it's still one of the winners. You bring this out, you give it haste and trample with Footfall Crater, and you're already off to the world. You're already there.
All right. Well, give us your final game winner.
All right. So we talked about this when we talked about your deck, and I was like, I feel like I have one of these lying around. And one of the reasons why I intentionally built this to have so many creatures is to abuse this card, because I feel like it does everything else that we're looking for in the deck that we've already talked about.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Sneak attack? Come on! You inspired me. You inspired me in two ways. One was to build a deck that could play sneak attack, and two was to only build it out of cards I already had. So sneak attack, for those who are uninitiated, is a mythic rare for only $15 now, which is insane. 3 colors and a red for an enchantment. Tap a red, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Just a way to fuel up my graveyard. You get the sacrifice fix. You get the sacrificed fix in it. You can sneak out your Pathbreaker Ibex or like a Xenagod, God of Revels, if you have it, to make some massive damage swings. I had one lying around. I don't know why this wasn't in a different deck, but it's in this one for now.
Yeah, I'm shocked you didn't have it already in a deck. But no, this card's great. It's good for your deck because you want big stuff, but you also want stuff in the yard for Gyrus to bring back and do some free shenanigans stuff. So I'm here for it. I think Sneak Attack's an awesome card.
Yeah, not much to say about that one, but I want to bring it up because you inspired me, sir, as you do every day.
Well, that one was the Commander Smith, so I can't take too much credit for that.
Oh.
But my final one gets a little bitty bubble. Nightmare Cat. We're talking Fblthp, the Shadow Cat familiar.
It's so good.
It's really good for partner decks.
Yes,
2 colorless black, legendary creature, Nightmare Cat. It has partner, so it could be in the command zone, and it has 2 power, 2 toughness. Commanders you control have Menace and Death Touch. Kels already has Menace, but it does give Gyrus Menace, and now both of them get Death Touch. Really good.
Yeah, for 13 cents and 3 mana, this card is insane. Like, can you imagine if this was like an enchantment? It would have to cost like what, 4 at least?
It'd probably still be 3 mana, but I bet you it'd probably be a rare or a mythic.
Right. But you do have just a little bit of reading, and this one's a good one. You got Viken, 11th Company Battle Mage, Hannibal Lecter.
She sticks to her chosen master, Clarice, closer than their own shadow.
Now, you don't have this in any decks, I'm guessing, right? Because you don't run any
of course
partner, not. You don't have any partners that you care about with this?
Nope, because my only partner deck is my CEDH deck, and I'm not swinging with Thrasios.
I was gonna say this does precisely dick in that build. So,
all right, guys. Well, that's gonna wrap up the yeast package. Now we're gonna head over to the spicy meatball. Only a few options.
Yeah,
Duck. I got an 8-legged furry friend. That's
how you're going with that one. Nice.
Yeah. Thantis, the War Weaver. I think this card is actually going to cause so much chaos at this game because of Brando's deck. I am here for it. It needs to stay. 3 colorless, Jund, black, red, and green. Legendary creature, Spider. It's a 5/5. It has Vigilance. It has Reach. All creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, Thantis the Warweaver gets a +1/+1 counter. And who does Thantis sound like?
And he sounds like Anawan the Rune Sage, which is Shere Khan the Tiger, I think from the Jungle Book, right?
Oh, yeah. God, that one's kind of hard. Like,
that's
I'm
an
just
old
trying
one
to remember.
Is he like, hey, how's it going, guys? Or is he like more...
Idris Elba did him in the remake.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm trying to channel like my inner Idris Elba without being racist against British people. Wanted to clarify that. All right.
Okay, you think you got one?
She spins a web. Few can resist. Its sweet aroma sparks chaos in every heart.
Why don't you just talk like that all the time? That sounds great.
It was very stressful. It was hard. I had to elongate my jaw.
Right.
So anyways, this card's great. It's always making people attack each combat. Kels, you can make indestructible whenever you feel like it.
Sure.
It's, haha, you have to attack. And it doesn't. You can't pay for Ghostly Prison over here. Maybe Mr. Combo has some stupid bullshit over here. Marketing Ross is there. It's just like, you have to come my way. Thantis is getting the +1/+1. And then you can make Kels indestructible, just block. It doesn't even have to kill their thing. It's just indestructible, whatever. But then you're going to cause so much animosity amongst your opponents that they'll forget that you were the one that did the Thantis bullshit, and it's not everyone else's fault.
Exactly. And I think, so this was actually my original partner. This was my commander when I first started building it. And I'm still like, I don't know. I still think it could potentially be swapped out. It would just be a little different of a deck. I think I don't know. What do you think? I think it's too, at this point, it's too far, right?
Yeah, you have too much stuff that you're trying to bring back from the graveyard that I don't think you could. Now, if you just wanted to say, cut out the blue, take Kels out, and do Thantis and Gyrus as partners in the command zone, that's a little bit different if you wanted to do that. But
Double Jun?
If you're trying to keep Kels as your other partner, I don't think you'd have to price swap out 30 or 40 cards to make it make sense.
Yeah, it'd pretty much be a different deck there. Also, shockingly, this card is $3, which to me is...
But apparently, Card Kingdom, you can get it for $1.50.
What?
I'm clicking the link. Ooh, $1.19. 8 available.
Cutting them out. And I actually got 2 of these in my
that was your doubled up one.
Weird, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, what is your spice card?
I was so excited to get a copy of this card, and I literally still cannot figure out the deck that I wanted it in. So I was like, why not? Right? It's Binder Bullshit Day. Merry Christmas. And that one's Dragon Lord Solomgar. So,
I thought you were talking about Double Major.
No, that is another. Okay, it's the same thing. That's a Double Major I was super keen on. I got a foil off eBay because I thought this card was going to go way to the moon. But it's been sitting around for like 4 months or maybe longer. But anyways, Dragon Lord, I think Double Major is way better than Dragon Lord, to be honest. So 4 colorless, blue and a black for a 3/5 legendary creature, Elder Dragon. Flying Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature or planeswalker for as long as you control Dragon Lord Solomgar. And then I did get lucky. I did get a little bit of luck of the draw here with Talara, Elvish Spaceflight, aka Pika 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 Pikachu. Feels good. I'm sweating so much. It's whatever I get in this
guys,
room.
You didn't know doing deck techs. It's intense workouts.
It's literally I don't know. I haven't taken a shower today intentionally. So I just thought it was a cool card, and it was lying around a binder, so I put it in here. The only like sort of cute thing that I could even think of is that since it's a 3-drop, you could potentially you could get it back with
6-drop.
No, sorry, it's a 6-drop that costs
3 power.
Right. Yeah, so you could like cheese it out with Gyrus, steal a creature, and sacrifice it to Kels, right? If you wanted to go through that whole rigmarole, I don't know. I just wanted to put it in here and see if it would do anything.
Yeah, I think what you're wanting it to do is just way too sweaty.
Yeah, right.
Now, if at this point in the deck it was like, I got some Blink stuff, I got Conjuring's Closet, it's like, okay, it could be
I can make tokens, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that Gyrus exiles it from the graveyard and it's like a one and done, that's where it's like, probably could find something better. But why is it's cutesy. It's cutesy.
Why is it $11? Like that's what again, I think that might have been. Is that it? It's just because this goes. Oh, because this is just a slam dunk in any 5-color
probably.
Dragon deck.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna wrap up the spice package.
All right.
And then we're going to head over to our bottle capping. And as a reminder, these are going to be, surprise, Marketing Ross's and Brando from Commander Cookouts cuts and adds to BigTuck's deck that are going to be under $5, under $50, and a no budget recommendation. They just couldn't recommend mana-only lands. So, BigTuck, we're going to start first with our boy, Rocketing Moss, or Marketing Ross, as we like to call him. And his card, he is going to cut, and I hate to say it, buddy, Arlen the Pack's Hope.
No!
And, so he said, I'm going to cut Arlen. I don't think she does quite enough for the theme of the deck, and you'll have no control over whether her day or night face is showing. Instead, I think you should add Prime Speaker Vanifar. 2 colorless Simic. That is green and blue. Legendary creature, Elf Ooze Wizard. It's a 2/4. Sacrifice another creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. And Ross actually did some math for you, BigTuck, to kind of actually showcase what your CMCs kind of add up to. So if we pull this up, we will get... You have 1 card at 1 CMC, 3 at 2 CMC, 5 at 3 CMC, 4 at 4 CMC, 5 at 5 CMC, 5 at 6, 3 at 7, and 2 at 8. So his kind of point is you have a good gradual build up. So you should always be able to get a card off of Prime Speaker Vanifar. And the rest of what he said was it's a 2/4, it's a semi-decent blocker, and you can enable your sacrifice shenanigans while upgrading you to another creature within your deck.
Is this just a better commander than Kels?
Yes.
Right? Like, it kind of is, isn't it? It costs the same.
But the issue here is that Kels draws you cards.
Right.
Prime Speaker Vanifar actually doesn't. And Birthing Pod in the command zone sounds cool, but then you would literally have to do like that douchebag with the foil green deck. And actually have to like math out everything. Like, do I have enough at each one to be able to do it?
You go grab, you have your deck list pulled up the entire time, just like, yeah, right?
Yep. So I personally think this is a good in the 99. I think in the command zone, you'd probably have to retune the deck again.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. Good point. But no, I wish I had one of these because this is another card I've always liked. I can't find a deck for it, so here we are.
Well, now we're going to go over to Commander Cookout's Brando, and he did tune in via the metaverse.
Whoa!
I'm Mr. The Tuck. My very first cut I would make is Plague Crafter. Not because it's bad, it's actually an exceptional good card and plays into your strategy, but I think if you were to look at a little 16-cent piece of business called Grave Lighter, you might find a little bit more utility, as it has a draw a card stapled to it if a creature has already died, and in your deck a creature probably will have already died, and maybe it won't be sacking a lot of planeswalkers or getting any discard, but single discard isn't really that good to start with, and being able to draw a card when you really need to is probably a better idea.
That's pretty good.
What do you think?
Drawing a card is better than a planeswalker, and I can dictate. I think you can, in this deck, you can have a better grasp of dictating when you want this to happen, right? Because you can always just pay 1 and sack one of your own creatures, and knowing that you're going to do the second ability. I didn't know this card existed, so I'm kind of like deer in the headlights for it. It's really interesting, and in reality, I probably would rather have both. I don't know. Plague Crafters is so good, though. I don't know, Mr. Combo. What do you think between the two of them?
I agree with you. I would probably cut another card for this.
They both seem great, right?
But I will say this. I guess for me, I look at Plague Crafter as more of a fleshbag marauder with the potential to draw a card.
Right.
I don't actually do it with the hope of drawing a card. So I guess it actually depends on why you have Plague Crafter in the deck. If you have it in the deck for the draw card effect, Gravelighter's way better. But if you don't have it in there and it's more of I'm trying to do a board parity, get everyone to lose a creature, then I think Gravelighter probably doesn't fit and Plague Crafter is better.
Right.
But once again, you could control if the second effect on Gravelighter works. It's just you would have to do a little bit more work for it versus Plague Crafter. But I mean, Brando makes a good point. You should have creatures dying on your turn regardless of a Plague Crafter.
Every turn. It's a really cool card. It's a really cool card and really cool idea. And again, for pennies on the dollar, a bunch of people just opened up a bunch of Kamigawa as well. So I'll just ask them if they have one. They'll just give one to me.
There you go. All right, under 50. Rocketing Moss, Marketing Ross. He just does not like the cards you talked about today, Tuck. We're cutting Dragon Lord Silumgar. So he says, I didn't want to cut from the spice package, but Silumgar is just a little too cute, and I think we could slot something better. Along the same lines as the last pick, he believes Birthing Pod.
Birthing Pod, just straight out pod it.
Yep, just straight out pod it. So this is 3 colorless Phyrexian green. You can either pay a green or 2 life. It's an artifact. It's a rare for $15.
Oh my god!
Like, that's cheap or expensive?
Both, I guess. I thought you were gonna say like 40.
No, the Judge promo is only 51.
Oh, nice.
So this guy's, you can pay a colorless and a Phyrexian green, tap it, sack a creature, search your library for a CMC creature card with 1+ a sacrifice. It's essentially the same thing as Prime Speaker Vanifar. And what Rocketing Moss had to say about that is, I think Birthing Pod feeds right into what your deck wants to do and reduces your overall CMC by 3. That's an exclamation point with that. You're paying the 2 life to cast this. And that's fair.
Yeah. Well,
he has it. It's going in.
It's done. No questions asked. Sorry, Solmgar. Back to the Legends binder with you, you son of a bitch.
All right.
I want him to work. So I every time I'm building a new Dimir deck, I always look at him and it's like it's that photo of, it's like that meme of Wolverine with the photo of Jean Grey, right? Like, that's how I feel like every time. I'm like, sorry, buddy, you're staying in stasis for another rotation, I guess. Yeah, so I know. As soon as he was like, I think I have a pod, and I'm not doing anything, but that's done deal. Good job. Good job, Ross.
All right, let's see what our friend from the North, Brando, has to say.
All right, the Tuck. I see you're playing Gaunty, and my first question when I see a Gaunty in a list designed specifically to play in VDH is, what the hell's the matter with you? You can't play that in VDH because you can't secretly look at the top 4 cards of my deck because I can't look at them to show them to you. And we're not playing with blindfolds. No kink shaming, but I'm not into that. So what I would do is I would cut his ass immediately and get my boy Urabrask the Hidden up in there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Red 3. You got a 4/4, gives all your dudes haste, makes all of our dudes come into play tapped. He is excellent for creating a combat-centric environment that is advantageous to you and super sucks for us. And I think at $12, it's a pretty decent include in this deck.
And I want to add, he's talking 12 Canadian dollars. You can get this card for $7 in American.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Well, while Tuck's looking through his binder to see if he has it. By the way, Tuck, you do have one if you did the Phyrexian.
That's what I was just thinking.
Secret layer.
Like, did I already put that somewhere? Anyways, I'll look into that. Gaunty is a pain in the ass. We just asked everyone to close their eyes. We just did that on stream last week, didn't we? We didn't?
No.
Oh, I thought I did that recently where someone played some card like that. Oh, wait. Didn't we? Because I have Gaunty in Prosper. I could have sworn we did that.
We didn't close our eyes. What most likely you probably did, and this is the way that we've done it in the past, is unfortunately there's not a good way to do it. It's just the person does the top 4, they send a picture, they know what it is, and you just hopefully everyone's cool and you pretend you don't know.
Yeah.
But it is hard to it is hard when you're, even though you're there to have fun, if you want to win, and I know you have a board wipe or a counter spell or something under Gaunty, it's hard for me to just play into that, not knowing
and just
that
be like,
there.
oh, I'm just trying to do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
I hear you. If I have an Urabrask, I'll put it in there for the stream for sure. I just don't remember if I already slotted that into somewhere else.
All right. No budget. Marketing Ross wants you to cut Thriving Isle.
Okay.
Get ready. We're cutting Thriving Isle for a tremendous upgrade. This deck doesn't need to produce a ton of blue mana and 0 for your commanders, so I think we can lose a tapped land. He believes Volrath Stronghold would be better for the deck.
Yeah, no shit.
Volrath Stronghold is a mythic land. It taps to add a colorless. It's legendary. And then for a colorless black, tap, put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's $31.
Well, that's for the gold. That's for the gold board version, my friend.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. The actual real copy and the only copy is 112.
The only copy. I mean, yeah, it's great. And now, to be fair, I have been trying to pick up a gold version of this for a while, so maybe this will be the incentive to do it. But no,
then it can't be binder bullshit. That just breaks your rules right there.
Oh, that's very true. I gotta stay strong to that. I gotta stay strong at least to that one. Yes, Volrath Stronghold is really good. If this was a $5 card, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to not put it into a black creature deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, and Ross was saying, it comes in untapped, so it's already better than Thriving Isle there. It produces colorless mana, which essentially is blue mana for you.
Right,
But more importantly, for the colorless black, gives you instant speed, graveyard recursion. What more could you ask for? And I agree, if you weren't doing binder bullshit, or if it was something, say, your play group, like we've been trying to talk to the Kansas City play group And it's like, hey, if we all think this is something we'd like to keep together, I'd love to keep my deck together. I think that could be a fun thing.
Yeah.
So if your pod was like, yeah, like we love this idea, Tuck, we'll totally do it, then I think it'd be worth it. Go get your gold bordered Volrath Stronghold. I'd prefer you get an actual real copy, but I can't wish for everything.
So the thing I will say about that real quick is when I brought this up to them, they're all like, "Oh, come on!" And I was like, "I don't think it's that bad, right?" Like, I told them your deck, and they're like, "So it's just Joyra, but Joyra it's already busted, but it's like slightly more busted potentially." And I was like, "I guess." They're like, "Okay, that's fine." What's the other one doing? I was like, "I don't know, some Boros stacks nonsense that I don't understand." Evidently, they're like, "What are yours?" I told them this. They're like, "It just sounds like a normal deck you would build just with more rules." It's like I don't know what to tell you.
But coming from the north,
okay,
and he did say under $infinity. Here is Brando from Commander Cookout.
Oh boy.
My last suggestion, my budget busting cut / include in the deck is I would cut Arland the Pack's Hope.
No!
1, because it's a werewolf. 2, because werewolves always suck. And 3, because you have it in your kind of ramp section. And in order for it to get you the ramp that you think it does, everybody at the table, including you, has to suck at least once. And you should never bank on other people just being bad at the game to make your card work. So I would just cut that shit and put in Chandra Torch of Defiance, who is by far the best red planeswalker that exists. It ramps you the exact same amount of mana for the exact same essential investment. Plus, it has an emblem that helps you win the game. It has an ability that removes creatures, and it has another ability that's going to do damage to us or draw you a card. And that's just a way better include than some piece of trash werewolf, let's be honest. Plus, it's only $9.50.
Yeah, I mean, it's $7. I love Chandra. I love Chandra Torch of Defiance. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a spare because I've already replaced a bunch of the other Chandras that are trash with this one, and the decks that would want to run it. I actually had so I have not listened to the episode with him, but the Chandra I had in there, where it gets the counters for everyone, Awakened Inferno. I actually had that in here until I realized it doesn't do anything.
Correct.
It doesn't do anything for me.
Well, I'll say this. Actually, I mean, I think Chandra Torch of Defiance does way more for your deck.
Oh, 100%.
The other one does.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get the tokens, which I get. That can kind of suck. But you're getting card draw, impulse card draw, which you love.
Sure, it's my favorite.
You're getting the 2 mana immediately. And I'll say its ultimate, like Arlen's ultimate, is her becoming an indestructible werewolf, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That's whatever.
Her ultimate is getting me 2 wolf tokens. That's what I want. That's what I want her to do and live through.
So I think what you should do, Tuck, is I think Arlen's better if you think you actually are going to just be leaving up tons of mana and flashing in stuff all the time.
Right.
Trying to like sneak people. If you don't think you're trying to go like that next level brain type thinking, then I think this is just an easy swap. And I would even say even for the stream, you could just take it out of one deck.
And just put in the other.
Chandra in here. Heck, you could even find a Gruul deck you have this in and just put Arlen in there. And there
just
you go.
Swap them out? Yeah. Wait.
O'Reilly. Auto
wait, no, it's trash. I was going to say, I think I have a Chandra in my Wart deck, maybe. But the problem is there's like 4 creatures in that deck, so Arlen's not a great swap in there. I love Chandra Torch of Defiance is the second best red planeswalker outside of Tibalt the Fiend-Blooded, obviously. No real argument about that. First off, it draws you a card and it costs 2 less. Come on, it's free. It's free mana. Actually, if all my Tibalts weren't only spoken for, I would have for sure put one into this deck because I don't care about my graveyard. Fill her up. If I had a spare Chandra, I would definitely have put it in here. But again, that is not the means for production of the day. I am running Arlen, and my goal is to play Arlen and hit him in the face. So win, lose, or draw, if I can play Arlen, flip her over, and hit either Rocketing Moss or Brando in the face, then I consider that a win. That is my World Series for the stream in a few weeks. And then I'll take her out. And then I'll go buy a Chandra and put her in and take her out.
Guys, thanks for making it until the end. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you follow our channel, subscribe to all of our content, and leave a 5-star review on whatever consumption platform you're enjoying us on, because that helps other people find us as well. And if you would like to get a hold of us, maybe ask some questions, or even find out where the stream's going to be, if you maybe forgot at the beginning of the show, here's how you could do that. You can find me at Mr. Comment number 5 on Twitter, all spelled out except for the 5. BigTuck. Did someone have a birthday this week that was a local celebrity in the Charlotte area?
Indeed. The man, the myth himself. I had a birthday this week.
Hey!
Hey! But I did post, I've been tagging some other people that I like, and I did get some traction on my the mystery booster thing from Card Kingdom, where I got a Birds of Paradise and then 4 cards that are stone unplayable. So I've not done I've been too focused on my own birthday this week to think about anyone else's, which is, pretty much the way I live my life.
You can reach our main account at CMDtower on Twitter as well. You can go to our website where we'll have deck lists, posts, links to all the content at cmdtower.com/BNBE134. Basically typed in Custody Lich, Mogus God of Slaughter, Dawnglade Regent, Tower.com. Now, if you could, we'd really appreciate a support through our Patreon, patreon.com/CMDtower. Yes, I am Bernie Sanders, and I am asking you for your financial support. We have a lot of different reward tiers, guys, for whatever your budget can handle. Really, we're just trying to grow the channel, and we cannot do it without your support. So anything, whether it's $1, $5, $15, or $25 that you could contribute on a monthly basis, we would really appreciate it. And there are different rewards based on what tier you sign up for. Now, if you have already joined our Patreon and you still want to go out there and preach the good word that is CMDtower, we do have a referral program. So anyone you refer to the channel, we will send, just make sure they let us know, or you let us know, just let someone know, and we'll be sure to send you some free swag. And another big perk of our Patreon is shout outs and stuff like that. So I do want to do a big shout out to Lemony Linnings. He recently upped his patronage to the Mr. Com number 5 storm count. So really appreciate the additional support there. We'll be getting your swag sent out here in the next week or so. But seriously, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Now, we do have a store, so if you are looking to, get some extra sleeves, maybe you need yourself that reminder token with that sweet gold back, head over to cmdtower.com/merch. We do have everything for sale on there. We do have a goal. We're trying to get through 50% of our inventory by the end of summer. That way we could really kind of focus in, do some cool stuff for the community, maybe even increase our Twitch presence, and also bring on additional staff and start being able to, kind of pay the staff for their time for producing that content for you guys. So definitely go hit up the store if you have some needs. Big think, $5 for a pack of 100 sleeves. It's a great deal. Now, we do have a recent partnership with abyssproxyshop.com. They're the playtest printer that I've used for years and years and years. If you type custom card into their site, they actually have a link with all the community art that they've helped people put on cards in the past. It's 10% off if you use code CMDtower, and it is combinable with every other discount code on their site. So go get your 20% off, and while you're doing that, you're supporting CMDtower. So BigTuck, how did Marketing Ross, Commander Cookouts Brando, and I do around Kels Fight Ring Welcomes Gyrus? I talked about cards. They talked about cuts and ads. How do you feel?
I feel great. I'm really excited to put in the Birthing Pod, because that's another card that I've been looking for another home for since I cut it out of a deck. I like how they both ganged up on Arlen, which I think is unfair. I like how Ross did gang up on Dragonlord, which is totally fair. But yeah, it was an interesting challenge to be like, because I really, even though it looks like I may have just slammed a bunch of random cards together, I did try to make it be like, okay, how many creatures do I have? Is this actually going to work? So it actually was like really fun to think through, right? Obviously, Dimir and Jund are some of my favorite colors. I think that there's a lot of options here. I think that this is a deck that if it goes well, it may be something that I just hold on to or like open up and get a few more cards for. But all that kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah, I still don't see the theme of the deck, or like, other than just play creatures, hit people, sacrifice creatures to draw a card, and try to rinse and repeat. So I think it'll be interesting to see how your deck plays. I think the only thing I could see being hard for you, with at least knowing my deck and Brando's deck, I don't know if you're going to have the mana that you think you're going to have access to all the time. So that might be something to try to figure out with some of these cards that we recommended from a cuts perspective, even if you can reduce the CMC, kind of like the Silumgar to Birthing Pod example.
Right.
I think if you could try to get your CMC closer to like 3-4, I think that'd probably be safer than the 3-7-8. When I see 3-7-8 and one of your commanders is an X spell, that's not a good sign.
Sure. Yeah, but I do like my big boys, as you know very well. I like my big strong men and girls.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, and remember, tune in May 2nd, twitch.tv/CMDtower for Commander Cookouts Brando, Marketing Ross, BigTuck, and myself, Mr. Comma number 5, doing our partner non-partner challenge on Twitch. Woo. Hope to see you then.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, I'm so sweaty.